Welcome to Disability Clinic, where we break down all the bodily functions. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Van, and today we're going to be breaking down a somewhat scandalous scene from Breaking Bad, where Hank's wife, Marie, convinces him that he's ready to leave the hospital. Spoilers and adult-level content ahead. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's watch Hank get a sponge bath.
Marie, let the people who get paid to do this.
The people who get paid to do this do a lousy job.
That's a rude generalization. All kinds of people get paid to help with sponge baths. And just like any other job, some people care about doing a good job, and some people don't care as much. Hank just sat up and leaned forward without any assistance, meaning he has full upper body and trunk strength. So there's no reason he shouldn't be independent with sponge bathing, or at least practicing this during occupational therapy. Instead, we see Marie doing most of the work here.
I found very interesting as an OT that you would do a sponge bath with your shirt on. It's like you're just getting the whole shirt wet.
So I guess this is what you want, huh? Just lying in a hospital bed, getting sponge baths from nurses.
He should have been doing all that by himself, of course.
It's time to go home, Hank.
Times I gotta tell you, Marie, not till I'm well.
So intimacy warning. I think you know what scene this is, but
yeah,
just brace yourself. Yeah.
Well, we don't see much.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just seeing.
Seeing what?
Seeing what I see.
I like the fact that they throw in some like sexuality in there because it's a normal part of a person. Like we're all sexual beings.
I'm at my best here, Marie.
We'll see.
What's gonna happen?
I say it will.
And the thing is, like, yeah, he has an incomplete injury, so you don't know. Like, he might be able to have more sensation below his level of injury. Although it's kind of weird because most people who have a spinal cord injury, their like sexual response is affected.
Nah, I'm in his bed for a reason. It's a waste of time.
I'll tell you what. If I can get the groundhog to see his shed,
It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry.
I'm betting it will. And if he does, you check out of here.
I'm not gonna bet on whether I get a boner.
One thing that would have been really embarrassing for me, but I wasn't conscious at the time, is the fact that when I was an inpatient, I had an erection because your body does what it does. And I guess my mom was really happy and was telling everybody, like, oh, hey, my son had an erection. I was like, oh, man. At least I was out and I didn't know anything about that.
Classic mom still embarrassing you, like, anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what's happening. That's funny.
A spontaneous erection can actually happen right after an acute spinal cord injury, and this is not related to sexual arousal. Let me offer a simplified explanation. The parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, is responsible for pointing, the erection, pointing. The sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, is responsible for shooting, or ejaculation. When the spinal cord is injured, the sympathetic nervous system is interrupted, so parasympathetic or pointing activity dominates. Hence, you can get spontaneous erections.
I got a boner.
Fun fact that I learned in med school, this is why during old-timey executions at the gallows, when someone was dropped through a noose and broke their neck, it would injure their spinal cord and the poor guy would suddenly have an erection. This is why to this day we still call people with large erect penises well hung.
It's no bet. No bet here. No bet.
You afraid you'll lose?
You're just being foolish, you know? Come on. What's the point?
The point is, you're not completely hopeless.
I don't know, like, the purpose was of him to just get an erection or for him to ejaculate, which are, like, two very different things. Like, people with spinal cord injuries, yeah, you can get an erection, like, by having stimulation. Ejaculating, on the other hand, that's a little bit more difficult because that you need the pelvic wall muscles to contract for you to ejaculate, so it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Hobal's right. Erections are easier to achieve than ejaculations for many reasons. But remember, the sympathetic nervous system is more easily interrupted in spinal cord injury, so it's harder to shoot.
We have a bet?
You know what? If it'll get you out of here quicker, you got 1 minute.
1 minute? All right, that's a cakewalk.
Marie, give up. I mean, seriously, it's...
That's funny. Good way to end that.
I guess he lost a bet.
Yeah.
Sex and intimacy happens because we're all human. It just looks different for different people. And that's a good thing.
The way sexuality and spinal cord injury are kind of portrayed, it's like, oh, if you're paralyzed, that's it, right? But that's not true. There's so many different ways to practice a healthy sexual life after a spinal cord injury. Women can have children, men can have a sexual life with their partners. It does work a little different after your spinal cord injury, right? But you are able to. And then I almost feel like this scene is saying that, it's saying, yes, persons with spinal cord injuries can have a sexual life. And I think in that sense, it's like, oh, good. They actually showed what a lot of people might not be familiar with or aware of.
The hospital where we work has a peer mentor program where people living with disabilities provide support and guidance for patients dealing with new injuries. Peer mentors often share their personal experiences, which can help someone with a new injury feel like they're not facing these challenges alone. I'll let Hobal tell you more about it.
Everybody, like, you were either sexual before you had your injury, or you are going to be sexual after your injury. It's a normal part of being a human, and it's an important part. I mean, we have sex for many reasons, because it feels good, because we have that sense of like that connection with like intimacy with a partner, for support, like stress relief, like having kids. It's important that people know that they can still have a successful and or like a fulfilling sexual life. Maybe some things are going a bit different. One of the main problems with women would be like lubrication. It doesn't happen like it used to for women, but for men it's a little bit more difficult. Like able to, like fertility, it's affected because a lot of times we're not able to ejaculate. We do have a class on sexuality, like just like we have a class on bladder management and bowel management and pressure sores and pressure relief. A lot of times we have a class, we might not have questions, but then when we're in, like one-on-one, people feel more comfortable because it's kind of odd talking about sexuality with a group of people. It's a very intimate thing, and we tell patients about our experience and like different tools and things they can do. Yeah, patients seem to open up more to us as far as like intimacy and sexuality goes, because they know like, oh well, he's already living with it, so they're comfortable asking us. But we also let them know that we'll be ready to talk to you about these things when you're ready. Some people are want to talk about that when they're in the hospital. Other people as soon as they get out, or a year later or two, it doesn't matter. We tell people that it is normal. You'll go at your own pace, and to not feel like pressure into being sexual or doing anything sexual if you don't feel comfortable with it, because yeah, it's a normal part of life, and we'll do it whenever we're ready. It's okay to wait if you're not ready.
Even when pretty much everyone is thinking about it, sex isn't talked about very often right after someone acquires a new disability. And there are so many reasons why.
Especially now, like acute rehab stays are way shorter, right? They're so busy. We're throwing them so many things, so much information like, hey, your bowel program, hey, your IC, then hey, we need to work on your balance, we need to work on pain, the spasms, your blood pressure, and they're like bombarded with so many different things. It might be a little uncomfortable or scary to go around and ask your therapist about this. It's something very personal, right? But then when it comes to bowel program where I see it's like, oh, they're already doing it. So, okay, I give up. You know, you just do whatever you need to do. I'm more worried about me being able to pee than maybe all those like sexuality questions. But then maybe they're just holding to that last thread, going like, okay, maybe I'll just ask someone later.
I think that's a really good point, that there's so many things that are different that essentially have to happen. Like you have to empty your bladder, you have to empty your bowel, you have to learn how to shift positions and you know, you focus on mobility. So you're right. I think that's the most important priority in those first few weeks that you get to spend with them. And then once all of that information can get processed and, you know, kind of solidified, then the person can start thinking about, okay, like now I have this new level of functioning, I have a handle on this. Now let me think about the more recreational part of my identity. I'm so glad that we have the peer mentor program and have classes and can make the dialogue about conversations that aren't so comfortable, normalizing it and sort of making it available to people who otherwise might be too shy to like ask their doctor about it.
There are plenty of people with disabilities that get their groove on and they're happy. But there are plenty of people with disabilities not having sex, and it's very frustrating, and it does affect your mental health. And if your mental health is affected, that will affect you internally, and that will put stress on you, which will put stress on your body. So it's all connected. I know maybe you think I'm kind of reaching here.
No, not at
all
all. No,
connected.
I think you're talking about something that people don't want to talk about. It's not this icky, like uncomfortable topic. I mean, America is just kind of Puritan like that. People don't want to talk about sex even for people without disabilities. Like it's very hush hush.
Just so people say you need to exercise, or this is important, or you need to take this medicine, or it's important to be active. Having sex is healthy too. So
Absolutely.
I just want to let you know, just in case, because I know we're just starting to get into the back. I just want to let you know, this is not just about me trying to get my rocks off.
I wish that healthcare wasn't so shy about stuff like sex, because I was watching a documentary where a lady she acquired a spinal cord injury, and she was talking about how she asked her doctor about sex and having babies, and her doctor had no idea what to tell her.
When I had my accident, I think it was really weird. It was kind of like all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. And I remember saying to the specialist, and he came into the room, and I just said, am I still going to be able to have sex? Am I still going to be able to have children? And he was like, oh, I'll have to get back to you. And he ran away.
Maybe that was like 20 years ago, but still, like, how much has changed? Not that much. And so there's a lot of education that needs to happen in healthcare too, because the culture of healthcare is just as, hush hush about things that seem recreational, but really probably have a huge impact on someone's health and well-being.
I think the way many disabilities are portrayed now are way better than before. So, but I still think there's a lot of progress to be made. And not only in the US, but I'm seeing it in other countries too. Spinal cord injury, stroke, brain injury is talked about, right? And I know in other countries, a lot of disabilities are taboo. Like no one wants to talk about them, or we need to hide it. But I think it's important to bring awareness and create social change so that we can support everyone, because we're all living together.
If you think sex and sexuality are part of a healthy lifestyle, hit the like button and subscribe to Disability Clinic. If you have any ideas for future videos where we can talk about sex, baby, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
All right.
I like the fact that...
Go ahead.
Well, oh, you go ahead.
Oh, well, no. You go ahead.
Welcome to Disability... Point and shoot.